producer here. This is Dan. This is Jake.
That's Post Malone.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Post Malone here, guys. You know we out here.
So some of you may remember him from our Star Trek Beyond movie review. Remember you did that? Long time ago now. But today we're doing an editorial on a movie that never happened, which is Freddy versus Jason versus Ash
from Evil Dead.
From Evil Dead. How Freddy, Jason, and Ash all became one happy family. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Well, why don't we start with? Why don't we start with Dan on this one? Because you brought this to my attention. How would you explain loosely before we jump over to Jake how this movie? It didn't happen, of course. But when were they thinking about it? What were they thinking about? And what would you like to have seen from it? Go.
Well, to answer that question, what wouldn't I have wanted to see from it? I mean, it's Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, so I would most definitely would have loved to have seen that one. Think of Robert Englund and Kane Hodder, or Ken, I can't pronounce his last name, from Freddy vs. Jason to play Jason, and Bruce Campbell to play Ash. I think that would have been a good combo, like for a good action, horror, fun extravaganza, whatever the hell people would describe this as.
Right, of course.
But all I can say is, back after Freddy vs. Jason, obviously it was open for a sequel. And they're thinking, like, who can we have pit against Freddy and Jason next? They've actually thought about Michael Myers and Pinhead from the Halloween and Hellraiser series, and they're like, that's not going to work. We need to have someone else. Then someone along the line came up with the idea, what about Ash? Ash. Do people know him? And the one person says, you know what? Give it a shot. People will know him. I'm sure many do. Let's give it a shot. Okay. And I believe an executive producer, I believe that's what his role was in this. He wrote a story outline by the name of Jeff Katz. He was one of the writers, and the story outline eventually turned into a comic book series, but in my opinion, the way how it was laid out, very detailed, and the way how the inspirations came from, I prefer reading the outline if you're able to find it on bloodydisgusting.com. So we start off with Laurie and Will, the two survivors from Freddy vs. Jason. They come back to Camp Crystal Lake to confirm that both Freddy and Jason are dead. And they just want to make sure, and as they're driving by Crystal Lake, the town, people are forgetting about Jason. Like, they're renovating certain places. They're taking down graffiti of Jason Voorhees. Like, they're taking down all memory of Jason altogether.
Basically, like it never happened again.
Exactly, and they're renaming the town to Forest Green. To you diehard Friday the 13th fans, there are definitely a lot of nods and homages to the old franchise. So, without digressing, they come across the old cabins and a destroyed Camp Crystal Lake. They split up. Smart idea. And Laurie hears a noise, and she finds Will strung up and gutted. And then she's eventually chased by Jason. And he gets her and kills her. It is noted that the two actors will want to come back and get killed off by Jason, or either Freddy or whatever. But here's the thing: as Jason is chasing Laurie, he's hearing like screeches like metal coming from finger knives, and a very familiar laugh. Seeing a very familiar charred visage. It's Freddy. Now here's the thing: Freddy's stuck inside in Jason's mind, a fate worse than hell. But after all this time, he's been still taunting Jason, like kind of like what he did in Freddy vs. Jason. Like he's been taunting him, and somehow he got stuck in there. Technically, that last sequence from Freddy vs. Jason, the ending scene, that was in Jason's head, and Freddy's head is placed next to his dead mother's head.
Freddy Krueger is part of the supernatural world, so you can't kill anything that's, at least for him,
the dream world.
And the dream world. He can kill anything in the dream world, and even if you can try to harm Freddy in the dream world, it will only suppress him, but it won't actually kill him.
Right.
Because it's been proven in the Freddy Krueger, the rest of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, that he will always still come back, even if you try everything to kill him in the
If
dream
you
world.
kill him in the real world, which
If you try to bring him back into the real world, but it's been proving that it still doesn't. It only suppresses his powers.
Right.
It doesn't actually fully kill him either world. Unfortunately, because when he goes back, his powers are like reborn again. So
Right.
it's
also just the fear of him coming back. Like, you say his name, he's back.
Yeah.
That's the fear and glory. So, anyways, Jason comes across an old memory, like when the kids at Camp Crystal Lake back in 1958, and he sees a cabin, and someone's doing it, like they're getting on and everything, and he goes inside, and who does he see? He sees Freddy and Jason's mother, like in there, like that's a real.
That must have pissed him off.
Oh, it did, and he's swiping at Freddy, but he's not hitting him. So
yeah, of course.
Eventually, the mother, still disguised as Freddy, calms him down and says, "Listen, here's something that'll help you and Uncle Freddy out. Find this book that happens to be inside our old house, back in our old town. It's called the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead. We get the whole rundown and everything.
Which leads to where Ash is brought.
Right, I'm gonna get to that point. There's a badass sequence that's how it's detailed. So Freddy offers in return, if Jason gets the book, he can bring back Jason's dead mother, Pamela, and in return, alongside that, make Jason a little bit smarter, since Jason was, quote, a retarded little boy who was malformed and everything. So Jason eventually agrees, and then it's shown in the description, an unholy alliance is made. Let's just hope someone will be able to stop this destructive duo. And we cut to over the hill, cue the classic opening skip of Highway to Hell. Who comes down in the 1970 Oldsmobile? Ash.
His old fuckmobile.
in his old car, and he comes across an S-Mart shop.
Smart.
Shop S-Mart. You got that? In Crystal Lake, but the job's a cover-up. But the thing is, Ash has been looking for the Book of the Dead for like almost a decade, since Army of Darkness, to fulfill his destiny, since he's the chosen one. But now we notice he's slightly older, slightly wiser, but he's more cocksure than ever. He's still that same Ash, but he's a little bit smarter.
So basically, they would be trying to make so that unfortunately, the way that this would be, this storyline would not connect with Ash vs. Evil Dead, this current series right now. It would not connect.
Right.
No.
This is before.
Yeah. This will be way before, but also at the same time, Ash was even beforehand. Didn't care about the book. He stopped caring. He got back to his own timeline, and gave up, hid the book, gone forever. Or, hidden from society.
Right.
Until he brought back, opened it up again in season 1 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. But beforehand, there was nothing leading up. So it's basically going to be taking. It's not even going to be relevant. So Ash vs. Evil Dead, the series itself, is not actually going to be part of everything. Same thing with.
Technically, Ash vs. Evil Dead didn't come alive yet.
Didn't come alive yet. But
Ash vs. Evil Dead is obviously no connection.
Yeah, but even with the stories, none of the main stories from Freddy or Jason were actually connected with each other.
Yeah. No, not yet. But
it just simply combined the universes like Batman and Superman did.
Right.
Like they're in the same realm of DC, but the universes were completely different. And they just slowly mashed it into each other. Well, ended up turning into a disaster.
Right.
So they just took the universes themselves, took the backgrounds, and had them like they were in their own setting. Because they used the supernatural world of the Deadites and the dream world of Freddy. So that's where that maybe I think there was a crossover somewhere between those two supernatural worlds. At one point.
They will be connected as soon as we get further more and more into the story. So, anyways, he arrives at S-Mart, and we see our new bunch of kids. One girl by the name of Caroline, early 20s, She wants to have a new life. Get out of this small town, Crystal Lake, this piece of shit land or whatever. We have a kid named Jarvis, a kid named Dave who has the hots for Caroline, but jealous of Ash. And we have an Indian kid, think of Cal Penn, Raul. And they think Ash is a crackpot. Like, oh, this guy's crazy or whatever. Looking at his stump hand. Like, oh, what the hell happened to him? He must have done all this crazy shit himself or whatever. So, he's looking for the book. And the girl's asking Caroline, she asked Ash, like, what happened to your hand? And he gives her the rundown. He explains it to her like, technically not the first Evil Dead, but the second Evil Dead. His girlfriend, his hand went bad, beating the shit out of him, blowing holes in the wall, Army of Darkness, whatever. She gets the idea. She's like, okay, I believe you. And then we see Ash following this group of Socs to the old Voorhees house, where Ash gets the idea like the book might be there. He follows them, and Jason stumbles upon the house, kills the Socs in the most creative ways, and Ash finds the book, and I don't know how he would get he would find out that Jason's right behind him, but it's described like he would have this hilarious outburst of screaming and terror whatsoever, and he's nimbly dodging Jason's attacks, runs outside, and who comes to the rescue, saving Ash and the surviving Soc girl, Caroline, in her SUV. They hit Jason. The Oldsmobile's not working, and since it's in the middle of winter, it's old, won't work.
Carbureted.
Right. Pretty much.
Carbureted. And any car people out there know how much of a pain carburetors can be. You know, it can relate.
That's it. So they drive up with the book in hand, and Freddy, seeing this from Jason's point of view, he gets pissed off, like, what the fuck? You goddamn moron, you let that book slip right through your hands. But he notices something. Ash's name tag and where the location is. Okay, so this Ash character has the book. So, best guess, we go back to where they're going, where he works at, find the book, and kill anyone who gets in our way. Jason goes over to S-Mart, cuts whatever customer's down, kills the last Soc girl, and takes the book. He goes back over to Camp Crystal Lake and revives Freddy from his mind in limbo whatsoever. And then, in return, he gives him that little bit of intelligence. A deal's a deal. This is the end of the bargain. So now the kids gotta find the book, and the kids know now that Jason is alive and well. Like, he's not fucking around. He took that book for a reason, and Ash is thinking like, okay, so if Jason took that book, then he would know like that book would give him some sort of strength or something, and probably make him smarter. But the thing is, what's making him actually do it? Like, there's gotta be something else. It can't be just Jason thinking out of nowhere, like, okay, time for me to get this book. Someone's gotta be pulling his strings.
Right.
So as they go out, they go to Caroline's house. They all fall asleep, and Ash, he's trying to stay awake, falls, and where is he now? Back in the old cabin. Has his hand again, and goes the same as always in Evil Dead 2, but this time, for those who've seen Freddy's Revenge, finger knives sprout out from his fingers and starts gnashing at him. Same as always, runs inside the shed, gets the chainsaw, cuts it off, boomstick, blows that Freddy Ash hand to hell. And he sees Freddy across the room, and he's mocking him like, all you kids and Jason are a pawn in my game, and I will swallow your very souls. And before Freddy's about to finish Ash off, he wakes himself up with the burning end of the boomstick, and he wakes everyone up. But the jealous kid, he gets axed off in the most brutal way. Think of like the human cockroach from Nightmare 4 and the marionette guy from Part 3, which I want to say one thing, especially how it was listed in the story outline. I was disappointed with Freddy killing Freddy vs. Jason. They had this ultimate opportunity to to show that Freddy's actually back. Think about it. Freddy's been trapped in hell for God knows how many years. Like, what was it? Like 4 years since he died. Like by movie timeline, since Freddy's dead, it was 1999, then 2003, right? 4 years.
Yeah, I would say 4 years.
Yes, yeah, that pent-up aggression. And what does he do? He just throws a kid to a corner and just lights his back on fire. He doesn't just... I mean, think about it. You're Freddy. You see this kid saying, like, I won't do it. I won't say you're back or whatever. And you got this pent-up aggression. You're pissed off. You're not just going to grab this kid and just bash him against the entire room, leave marks and everywhere, and start scratching the hell out of him. To be honest, I would have expected that if I saw this in theaters. I would be like, okay, what's Freddy going to do to this guy? Not just throw him to the wall and just burn his back. I would have thought of something like brutal like that, like something body horror.
Well, technically, like if you wanted to go crazy with body horror, you can throw him against the room, set his back on fire, but also squeezing his eyeballs out, and literally taking a skull and pulling it in two, like taking his head and ripping it apart in two.
That's true. All right. Or if anything, he's got finger knives for a reason. Why couldn't he just scratch him into his back like deep cuts? Like, okay,
or take the knives and just slowly input him into the person's head.
Right, like something like that.
Rip it apart after.
That
is brutal.
That is brutal, especially for Freddy. That would have been something.
But that would be a good revival because you need a good kill.
Especially
to bring back
Freddy.
To bring back a horror character or any kind of character in general, they need a good reason, like a good upbringing to come back.
And plus, it brings up a show of
this involves any kind of character though. It involves a dying character from a TV series, that died but comes back.
Right.
They need a good revival. Hey, I'm back, but not just be like, I'm back, like crashing a helicopter and taking down the T-1000 in a bunker.
Right.
TX.
Or the TX in a bunker, and it's coming out with one arm missing. It's like, I'm back.
Pretty much. Pretty much that.
Yeah.
So now they know they're not dealing with Jason, but they're dealing with Freddy now, this dream demon.
Right.
So now they gotta start moving. And they eventually get to Jason's house, which is at the other side of the camp or whatever, and they think of a plan. They rig the old house with explosives and traps, and two of the kids, they volunteer to bait Jason back to the house. Think of Alien 3. You bait the monster to a certain location and just axe him off in whatever idea you got. They do that, but as Jason stops right by the house, he looks around the environment, looks at the two kids, and shakes.
I was like, I ain't falling for your bullshit.
No, he got smarter.
Kids, I ain't falling for your bullshit.
It worked. And next thing we see, he pulls out a second machete and cuts down both kids. Fuck. And while this is going on, Ash is running to the cabin to get the book. Who's there waiting for him? Freddy. Stabs him right in the shoulder with his finger knives and gives Ash the whole idea. I want the Necronomicon to get out, get myself out of Jason hell. But real reason is, I'm done waiting for people to fall asleep. I'm waiting so much to get people awake and asleep so I can bend the whole world into my reality.
He wants to pull the dream world into a constant reality.
Pretty much, like he's turning our reality into his nightmare reality.
Yeah, but have a day and night added. It would still be his world, but it's essentially like you're when you're awake. If you ever got flat out drunk, you black out, right?
Right. Doesn't matter if you're fully awake. He gets you. Say you're sitting here right now. He sticks his hand out right in front of you, holding your beat.
Well, the real world, you aren't seeing anything, but you're seeing everything that's projected through his dream world.
Right.
So he would get you, but when you're in reality, it's like you experience a blackout as though you were pissed drunk.
Yeah.
Because you don't remember anything, but in this blackout, you would be seeing everything. You would see everything normal, but they wouldn't say, like, if I got pulled in, I wouldn't be seeing you guys at all. I would just be seeing Freddy sit where you sit, or where JT would sit, or over there. That's all I would see.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
And only, and he can control it. He would be the only control of the actual environment. Like, he can lock the doors, he can open the doors, he can shift around parts.
Actually, what he does with this, it's what they did with this is actually pretty good.
It's a labyrinth.
Right.
His world is a labyrinth, essentially.
But not just that, he bends all matter in this world, which I'm going to get to in a minute. So Ash looks at Freddy and says, "I'm going to stop you." And Freddy's looking like, "Stop me? What do you think, I'm some stupid Bond villain? No. I did this 10 minutes ago. So that means it's already working." He's already bending all our reality to his will, like the winds are howling so bad, like you could barely see, you won't be able to move. He could use the tree branches to hit you and snatch the book out of your hands.
So basically doing what the same things that the Deadites can do.
Pretty much. He can make blood geysers, he can make the blood rain come down. He can do any of that. Yeah. And it's actually pretty good. So now, Jason, knowing what's going on, he knows that he's been had. He's like, okay, that's it. Now it's personal. Now I'm coming after your burned ass. Now I'm really going to kill you. So he goes back to the cabin, and Freddy brings up Jason's old victims. They come back as ghosts, like the kid in the wheelchair, and all these others. They start hounding him down. They dogpile him. And it looks like all hope is lost. As that goes on, he's watching Jason get torn apart, and Jason's just tearing him apart, cutting him down. Ash gets up. He snatches the book without Freddy knowing. He looks back like, what? He sees the shreds of clothes on the wall. Book is gone. And he screams at a primal yell, "Ash!" calling out Ash's name. Then Ash, like I mentioned, the tree branches come alive. They try and take the book. Caroline and Ash meet up, and it gets pretty good. Now, Freddy is running back to the old house, and he makes the Voorhees house look like the house from the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Barred windows. Krueger scratched on the mailbox instead of Voorhees. It's actually pretty cool. And Jason's strength definitely triples. Like, he bear hugs Freddy and charges him into trees, causing him to fall down and break in half. So you could tell it's that kind of dark magic made him stronger. So now they battle on the frozen ice on the lake. Blood gushers, like I mentioned. And they drive the Oldsmobile in there. And Freddy's power is growing much more malevolent. He has that demonic form like it was shown in Freddy vs. Jason with Laurie and whatever, something like that. And then we see this awesome three-way fight of Ash, Freddy, and Jason fighting on the ice. It wasn't in full detail, but whoever would have written this would have done a good job, I'm sure. Now, after all that, Jason is knocked into the ice by the car, down below into the dark depths, and Caroline, actually I forgot to mention this, Ash says to her, open this portal to, what was the name of the realm of the Deadites?
Oh, shit.
I don't know if there was a specific name, but I don't want to waste too much time.
I don't want to butcher it in case I'm wrong, but it's I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, let's just say right now the Nether Realm. Let's just say the Nether Realm for right now. So he looks at Caroline and says, "Okay, when I give the signal, you're gonna say the exact words and not to arm your darkness. Make sure you say the exact words right. Don't make the same mistake I did. Make sure they're exactly right. Don't yawn. Don't sneeze.
Barata.
Like that. Don't do anything like that, please. You'll make everything worse."
Look, what? I said it, man. I said it. What are you talking?
So she says it right, and the plan was to trap both Freddy and Jason, but Jason's he's out of the picture. He's subdued by the old car and in the water, and the vortex is open from above, and Freddy is pulling away from it. And as he's pulling, his burned skin peels off, and what do we see? We see Robert Englund. We see the actor's actual face beneath the burned skin as it's peeling off of him. And as the book flies out of their hands, Freddy catches it. Ash jumps right in front of Freddy, and he sticks his chainsaw right into his gut, points the shotgun at his face, blows his head off. There goes the book. There goes Freddy right into the vortex, closes. That alone would have killed off Freddy and the Necronomicon for good. That would have been the end of it. That would have been the end of Freddy Krueger. That would have been it. One more movie for Robert Englund. That would have been it. But reason why, I'm going to get to that eventually. They know everything is going to be good, and they think, what about Jason?
We'll get out eventually.
They'll get out eventually. It'll turn spring.
He'll get out
It'll turn
eventually.
to spring. So
We'll find the strength to move the vehicle out.
Oh yeah. So Ash pulls his bravado thing. Give me some sugar, baby. And they drive off into the sunrise with the Soch's sports car. But what's dangling in the rearview mirror? Ash's new trophy, Freddy's glove. And as they drive off, we look back into the icy waters, and we see Jason. His one eye pops open. Smashed to black. That would have been it, and I'm sure it would have led up to Jason X. That would have been Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. Now, before you know what? Let me just finish it off how it didn't happen. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell both had cold feet for this crossover. Bruce said himself he wasn't too big on it. Sam wasn't too sure of the kind of people they would have worked with, so
there wasn't a market for it. There wasn't a need because people make movies all the time and they don't have an appealing market to it.
Yes.
That's why video games are very, very tough because any kind of video game movies that's made by Hollywood is doomed to fail because there's no good market for it. The only people that we see are true diehard gamers for that specific game, like Doom or Assassin's Creed, or those they flopped.
Right.
Doom was one thing, but Doom wasn't really good at all, which that's a totally different topic. Mm-hmm. Plus, same thing with Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed had very good choreography. It was brilliant. The action was awesome, but at the same time, it was there was no good real market. That's why every single critic just gave it an F, pretty much, because they didn't understand what the story is. They tried giving them a little background on what it was, and the Apple of Eden, who's these characters, what was the purpose of the Templars and the Assassins, but there wasn't enough for them to get it.
Pretty much.
So that's why only Assassin's Creed fans would only understand the movie a lot better. Same thing that goes for any other future video game movie that wants to come out. Well, if it was a TV series, it would be room for a lot more. But TV series are completely, they're on their own territory, and they have all the room in the world to go further and further.
That's right.
Right. So pretty much what Jake has added in, and pretty much what I said. Cold feet. They know what kind of people they were working with, and plus, if they gave the rights to New Line, who had both the Freddy and Jason rights at the time, they wouldn't have a say in it. They wouldn't know who'd be directing. They don't know. They would get the chance to.
The original screenplay for Freddy vs. Jason was actually really, really good. The problem was it's Hollywood. They don't give credit where they say they do, and that's why there was just. The amount of plot holes that I found watching that movie, watching Freddy vs. Jason, was really, really ridiculous. And it barely saw anything on the actual contents of the movie. It was just constant revolve on the characters themselves and procrastinating on, trying to create a decent story for their side characters, for the survivors of the whole thing. While then actually focusing on the battles, and the battles weren't weren't done very well, and they were really, really short. Hashtag Halo 5.
All right. So
3 for 3. I'm sorry, but it's true.
So that would be Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash. So I'm gonna give the rest of these guys. Guys, what would you think overall if you saw everything what I just described to you into one movie? What would you guys think about all this?
Well, if they stuck to this original screenplay, didn't give enough, if they leave out just enough story, or if they have just enough story for the random characters that are going to be involved with it. Just enough that they're with it, but they're not just there for the ride. They have some part. But mainly focusing on the actual battles and having longer battle scenes and actually not making the same mistake as Freddy versus Jason.
This was an outline. It wasn't a full detailed.
Well, the outline itself was better than. It's better than nothing. Because I don't want to see this, because if that movie ever got made, I don't want to see it have the same mistake.
Yeah.
Because the writers really were not good. They were not good, and just everything was like, oh yeah, let's take these two characters, let's make a cross universe with them, basically immortal characters because they never seemed to want to fucking die, neither of them. Same thing with fucking
Jason.
No, not Jason.
Freddy.
No.
Ash.
Not Ash.
Oh my god.
I don't know what he's trying.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
Yeah. Basically, neither of those guys want to die. Don't know why, but they just don't want to. They like, nah, I don't feel like dying today.
It is what it is. The fear goes on.
Yeah.
The fear goes on. It has to go on. Fear never dies.
Well, yeah.
That's
That's the original thing for it. But it's having them have their characters are complete. They're really different.
Yeah.
In a ways,
right.
Because Jason was just this retarded psychopath, sociopath who had a psychopathic mother, condescending bitch too, mind you. So being raised by her in a really small community was enough as its own, and she was obviously you guys know she was the original killer that because stuff adapts onto the kids. Your kids will follow what your parents do. So then turning what Jason ended up doing secretly. So that's why. And then when you see Freddy was just a normal person. He was just a normal everyday.
I wouldn't say that. He was not a normal kid. He was a child molester. He was not a normal person when he was growing up. That's for sure.
Well, when he first started out, it was normal life as any other American, and then shit started going on for his family. Then he started getting into a lot of trouble. Started going through the child molester stage.
I'm not sure
when he got into his pre-teens.
Actually, I'm not sure when was the last time you saw 4 or 5, but he was the bastard son of 100 maniacs, and he was dropped by his nun mother. He didn't have a normal life from start.
Well, a normal enough life to not be a complete psycho.
Yeah,
right.
To that extent, if for that, and he had tried to make somewhat of a better life ordeal when he was brought, going back to the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
he tried, and then he found someone, but got shit on, beaten up, and killed for it. So spirit haunted in his own realm,
right.
Thus creating the dream world. So having they're essentially, they have similar features, but their stories, just the way they are a lot different. Because Jason just will kill you straight, in person. Will just not stop, kill after kill after kill. And Freddy will taunt you. He will create every single worst nightmare you hate. Because not only that he's, while you're sleeping, he knows stuff about you.
Right.
And that's why he's more of a scarier character, because he can say, oh shit, you don't like spiders. Let me turn myself into a giant ass spider and chase you down in a really bad hallway
and
that never ever ends.
And stick you to my web.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, Freddy is a more dangerous character.
Oh yeah.
Than Jason is, and that's why, because Jason should be able to die. Right. He is mortal. But movies say otherwise. But same thing with Michael Myers. And Michael Myers and Jason are more similar to each other. That's why
Michael is smart.
Michael's smart.
Right.
But also, it's like they have similar traits, more similar. That's why, when I first heard of them doing this, or when you first told me that they were going to do something like this, I was like, they did? I was like, Ash is cool, but I was like, why Ash? because they could have fit.
Aspect. They want
they wanted a hero
Ash
aspect.
had to win this fight.
Oh yeah, of course.
Which Sam Raimi and Bruce really wanted, but it was
but also at the same time, they would have really fucked that up too. Producers would have really screwed that up.
You think they would have messed up bad?
Oh, absolutely. They've unfortunately, as far as with the not having a feasible market for the movie to last and to do good, there's just thing with video game movies. They don't want to go by the lore. They'll do a little, hey, here's a reference to the lore, but let's stay completely different. Let's give our own taste. Which normally when Hollywood does that with their own films, it turns into shit.
Yeah, right.
That's why I never liked any of the video game movies. I'll watch them to see how bad they do, but I'll give them a chance. But that's not something I would watch all the time. I could really get into. That's why TV series are for movies such as that would make more sense.
Yes. Right.
Because the Star Trek would never be the way it is if it was just a 2-hour movie made in the 1950s.
No.
Think about that. Would you want to watch?
Probably not. Probably.
And plus the amount of adventures and how many movies on top of they had to make. That's why the 6 Star Trek movies were so popular, minus the 5th. Were very, very popular because it's a continuing story from the TV show. Which, unfortunately, TV shows as well is you have to make a really good TV show, you have the more revolving story that leads up to one another. That's a continuing timeline. That's not jumping around timelines and not leaving shit unspoken of. Helps, and that's where it makes that's why those TV shows will last so long. That's why I like Discovery the way when it came out. Yeah. So. That's on me. So
JT, what is your verdict? What do you think? Because both Jake and I have been going on and off. This poor kid hasn't said anything. This is his show. Jake and I have taken the whole thing. So JT, your verdict, and finish it off from there. I think Jake and I have said enough. Please, everything what I just described, what I just said.
I think everything you said sounds. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I've said this before. But if
as a movie,
would it? It's funny the way you were describing it. I could see myself in the theater in 2005, whatever,
or 06, or whatever this was going to happen.
Whatever was going to happen. I could see myself watching it because one of the things I look for in any movie is any screenplay is can you visualize it on the screen when you're watching it, and I feel like that's a goal. Like you mentioned, right, Hollywood and how they should do things better. I think that's a goal of how screenplays can you actually put a picture in your head of what you're seeing, and with that final shot of Jason in the water, and Ash with his chainsaw and he gutted Freddy. That I see that, and that what I like about doing this type of video and doing what you described was, I love, my phone's been going off like crazy, but I love the fact that I love screenplays like this when you can actually kind of picture it in your own head, and I wrote like a real life, hopefully what it could be on the screen. Obviously it didn't happen, we all know that. Yeah. But would I have loved to have seen it? Oh hell yeah! Like, Ash is my man. I mean, I told this story before when he was at Comic-Con. He was telling stories about it when he was on set of all 3 movies and all the Spider-Man movies, and and just realizing that we were so close to getting it, but it didn't happen. But that's okay.
Closest we ever got was a comic series.
Yeah, so. And if you want to check out, there's a comic book run of this, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
I believe off the top of my head, the comic book company is Dynamite Comics.
Yes, I think so.
I think so. Okay, I have Iron Darkness in another room. So yes, I would have loved to have seen it, but it never happened. That's okay. But overall, I think that we went on a long time about this.
we all wanted to.
I'm looking at the timer and it says we've gone for about 40 minutes now.
Holy shit!
Yes. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching this awesome editorial about how a movie that we all believe should have happened but never did. I'd like to thank the 2 fine gentlemen next to me, Jake, where can people find you online and on YouTube as well?
My Instagram, really, if you're gonna do like a pop tag, it'll be like up on the screen.
Yeah, it's
so
as right what you're talking about, it's on the screen.
Yeah. As I'm talking, it'll be on the screen.
Yeah,
Yours will be on the screen too. Dan's will probably be on the screen somewhere. It'll be up here, maybe right here, maybe up there, up here.
So
and down here.
Maybe down here.
No. Maybe right.
No, okay. But seriously, where can we find you on? Like on Instagram, Facebook,
you can find me on Instagram and YouTube, which they'll be on the screen.
Yes, okay. And Dan, where can people find you online?
People can find me on Instagram at Popeye9773.
And shooting music videos from Bon Jovi. You can find me on all the social media outlets, simply at The Super Review Show on Facebook and Twitter. And on Instagram, J-Man Off to Rock. Thank you so much for watching this amazing editorial, guys. The two gentlemen are here all the time now. Rock on. You guys are awesome. Peace out.